Are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
The following program is for mature and logical audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. We've officially gone from episodes of Chappelle's Show to episodes of Breaking Bad. If you've noticed, in case you've been living under a rock, we had a military helicopter crash into a commercial aircraft late last night. Was it DEI? Was it intentional? Was it domestic terrorism? I don't know, but media seems to think it's Trump cutting federal jobs. We're going to get into all of this and more today, but first, Ryan, you actually saw what happened last night. You saw the news before me. I didn't see it till about midnight.
I was watching live, yes. I was watching Sean Hannity, and he cut in on a special update alert while he was doing his show, and he started talking about it. And I watched it play out for about 2.5 hours. It initially went into all those emergency vehicles. All you could see was the lights flashing, and then they started showing. Eventually, they got that video where you could see the two aircrafts running into one another. But I got to catch a lot of it.
Again, not going to blame everything this episode. We're just gonna ask questions. In question one, how does a military helicopter crash into a passenger plane in the nation's capital of all places on planet Earth? Now, when you look at the video, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just what I see. The video looks like the Black Hawk helicopter deliberately did this. Not saying it was, not saying he did.
From the naked eye, just observing that's what I would think.
Yes,
that's what I would have thought as I was looking at it.
But again, we're not saying that. That's just what it looks like from the naked eye, just not knowing anything. Just came out of a rock, and that's it. That's what we saw. Yes. Now, I'm not an aviation expert. If you are an aviation expert, worked as a pilot, air traffic controller, please feel free to call in this episode, 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Again, 3 failures have to happen for a helicopter to crash into a plane. Number one, both pilots have to be not paying attention. Number two, well, I guess that's number one and number two. Number 3, air traffic control. They have to be failing at their jobs the entire time. Now, it's still too early to know anything and report it as a fact, but I'm hearing that the helicopter pilot asked for permission to pass behind the airplane. Again, I don't know. I heard the Black Hawk helicopter was, quote, unquote, flying dark. I'm hearing that maybe they weren't using their night vision. I don't know. I have no idea. But I know CNN wasted no time trying to blame Donald Trump for this. They made a clear point to point out. I hate when I say 2 words in a row, Ryan. They made a clear point to point out that Joe Biden's FAA head resigned and a new one hasn't been confirmed yet. I saw other news outlets use Trump's, executive order he signed putting a freeze on all hires as the reason this military helicopter crashed into a commercial airplane. Some claim Trump's executive order froze the hiring of air traffic controllers. That is also a lie. Read Trump's executive order from day one. I don't have it in front of me now, but it does state very clearly that, actually, right here, and I quote, "This order does not apply to military personnel of the armed forces or to positions related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety." Again, it has nothing to do with the executive order. But even if Trump did freeze hirings of the air traffic controllers, what on earth would that matter in 10 days? He's been president for 10 days. And according to the FAA, I looked this up, air traffic controllers must spend several months at the FAA Academy. And then after graduating from the Academy, they have to have 1 to 3 years on-the-job experience before becoming certified. So this can't be accomplished in 8 days. Let me see what I have right here before I move on to make sure I'm not leaving anything at all out. I don't think. Okay. Trump's executive order, that had to do with DEI. And you know what? When you read the headlines like this next one, you'll agree with it. Ryan, I wrote a lot of this stuff literally at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I heard Trump's press brief today.
Yeah.
And he quoted a lot of things that I have a lot of articles. I don't know if you heard it at all.
I haven't.
But from the Daily Mail, FAA launches recruitment campaign for workers with severe intellectual disabilities. Then there's a comma, Ryan, and there's more stuff. Psychiatric problems, comma, and physical issues to hit the woke DEI targets. And that's from the Daily Mail. When is this? What is the exact date? I want to say it was from a year ago. I could be wrong. January 14th of 2024. So yes, a little over a year ago. FAA is recruiting people with specific disabilities under a new diversity drive. The initiative is part of the broader diversity and inclusion plan by the agencies. Critics were concerned about safety, while the FAA noted diversity's importance. I'm not making this up. I'm not writing this article this is an article from a year ago. Severe intellectual disabilities.
Wow.
What more do you need to say? Air traffic controlling. You always think that's a very simple job. All you do is, but I hear that is one of the most complex, stressful, and hard jobs to do. No wonder it takes 5 years to become one.
Yeah.
What else do I got going on here? Something wrong with the internet? I don't know what. Not loading the rest of this article. Again, the diversity and inclusion plans, completely ridiculous. And that's kind of what led us to this point. I don't know why my internet is just not working out here. Let me read more from the article here. Again, I got no internet here, Ryan. Flying blind. I'm trying to pull up the other article here. Again, I do not know why this is happening.
I got internet pretty decent here.
Let me see. Okay, here we go. So, aside from Donald Trump and what he did with that executive order, what else can possibly be the reason that this plane crashed into a commercial airliner? I'm sorry, the helicopter crashed into a commercial airliner in the nation's capital, pretty much a mile or two over the White House. Is it possible for I think it's a Sikorsky H-60 helicopter, is it possible for one of those helicopters to be flown remotely? Yes, in fact, it is. Particular models like the MH-60R and the MH-60S have been adapted for various autonomous and remote piloting capabilities. Don't believe me? It's documented numerous times in the last few months. I'm going to read you another couple articles here. This is why I needed to pull these up. So this is from the Aviationalist. Lockheed Martin executive remotely controls UH-60 Blackhawk from 300 miles away during demo at AUSA Symposium. Ryan, if you had to guess where this symposium was held, what city? Where would you guess? What if I told you it was Washington, D.C.?
Wow.
Wow, what are the odds of that? When do you think the symposium was held, Ryan? Can you guess there? What if I told you it was like 100 days ago? 2 weeks, October 22nd, somewhere around there, two weeks before the election?
Jeez.
So 100 days ago, Lockheed Martin executive remotely controlled a UH-60 Blackhawk from 300 miles away. Again, not accusing anyone of anything, but it's weird. From the Defense Daily, DARPA conduct first autonomous Blackhawk flights with no safety pilots on board. No safety pilots on board. I guess there were just no one on board. So it begs the mystery. I'm not accusing of anything of it being a remotely operated helicopter pilot. I'm sure there are 3 people are supposedly dead, but we need answers. That's why I'm glad we have this administration now. I'm glad it's Donald Trump and not Joe Biden.
And Joe, I mean, just as the average guy, which I am, the average guy looking at this, and some of the things they were saying on the news, being this particular airport, this is an airport that a lot of important people fly in out of. They fly out of. It's not particularly a big airport. It's kind of an under wraps place where a lot of these high profile politicians might be going through, and on top of that, they have extra security. They have extra everything because, of who is using this airport. On top of that, the thing that really makes it confusing is the fact that the other party is a military helicopter who you would assume, Joe, in this particular situation at the Reagan Airport, just right there in Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., these two aircrafts would almost be certain not to hit one another.
Yeah, the odds of it happening. I mean,
right.
It's not like you're on land where you have to stay in lanes. I mean, you do with air traffic, whatever. But still, again, I don't know who to blame. I guess I would blame air traffic control, maybe. And then this is from I don't even know who this is from. It's being reported, though. Staffing at the air traffic control tower at Ronald Reagan National Airport was not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic. The controller who was handling helicopters was also instructing planes that were landing and departing from its runways. That seems like an accident waiting to happen, and I'm not an air traffic controller. I'm just a dumb, knuckle dragger here. I don't know too much. You said you're the average American. I'm a below average American. I don't know anything.
It just seems very unlikely that this played out the way that it's being told. But who am I? I don't know.
When you bring in the remote control aspect of flying a helicopter, it doesn't mean that maybe no one was in the air. Maybe it got remotely hijacked. We've heard stories about that. It could happen with cars. We know that for a fact. So I have to ask, and I'm just asking, I'm not accusing. Remember what we just saw 4 weeks ago in Las Vegas and New Orleans? Is this the third domestic terrorist event in 2025? Remember, the first two involved trucks, and now we're moving to airplanes and helicopters. Remember, just because it was a military helicopter doesn't mean the military was flying it. Sean Duffy, not to be confused with Sean Puffy Combs. Sean Duffy, he was sworn in hours before this happened as Secretary of Transportation. This, if you know history, this is the equivalent to Winston Churchill being sworn in as Prime Minister of Britain literally an hour or two before Germany invaded France in the Low Country. I think France lasted another 6 weeks after that and Britain was on its own. That's the equivalent. Hegseth too. He was just confirmed. He said the helicopter, talking about Hegseth now, he said the helicopter involved in the crash was doing standard training for continuity of government. That's, again, it's just a training exercise. We're not gonna delve into the conspiracies. Trump, he blamed AI. A reporter asked, "Are you saying this crash was caused as a result of diversity hiring?" And Trump said, "It could have been. It could have been." Did you watch his press conference all today?
Trump's? Yeah. I had not seen it yet.
Well, it showed us one thing. We straight up did not have a president for 4 years. You totally forgot what it was like to have someone in charge that goes up there and answers questions and doesn't just smile at the camera and turn his back to the American people and walk away. The questions, I got to get to the questions, but the media keeps asking the question, should Trump continue to cut the federal government after this in funding? They know he's attacking their money laundering schemes. They are not reporting news. They're trying to stop what Trump is doing, and they're using this event as an excuse. Again, we could spend all day on this helicopter crash. I just don't know if we have time. Someone's to call and we'll talk about it, but we don't have any information yet. I mean, we're going to get information. At least the Secretary of Transportation's out there talking. Trump's out there talking. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth's out there talking. So that's a good thing. Speaking of people talking, did you watch that White House briefing on Tuesday?
No, I heard about it, though.
She's a little firecracker,
I got to
man.
tell you, she seems like she's on the top of the job, man. I got to say. And a lot of people, I'm seeing on social media, a lot of people on the right, they really, really like her.
Audience, how do you like the new press secretary? Did you notice how it was different in the last 4 years? Let me play some clips here. But first, I want to give props to Carolyn Levitt for doing her first press conference. And Ryan, you might not know this, without a binder, no papers. And she was also able to call on every reporter by name. That takes a lot of brain power. Keep in mind, she's only 27 years old, and she's the youngest White House press secretary ever.
She's catching a lot of heat for that cross, too, John.
Yes,
I just noticed you wear a cross.
Yes, I do. It's a very big one. I wish I could get bigger, but I can't afford it thanks to the Joe Biden economy. And the price of gold compared to our cash. Gold continues to go. We're not going to get into the inflation in gold.
Can't afford the Flavor Flav size cross right now.
Okay, let's play the clip about illegal aliens. She was asked a question about illegal aliens. Play that, Ryan, when you get a chance.
Arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All
all of them because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
Oh, that feels refreshing to hear, does it not?
Joe, why is that so hard to understand, though? Why?
The people in the room were shocked to hear it.
I got to tell you, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, that makes sense. That is exactly the way that I grew up, what I was taught. Why does this make sense to half the population and not the other half?
I don't know. Then there was a rumor going around that Trump was cutting Medicaid and all these, and it was a total lie. It was wrong, and they even printed out a press. But she was asked about that, and she went into her response there and Dodge at the end is saving the people money. It's about a 40-second response. I cut off the part about condoms at the end. We'll get into condoms as soon as we're done with this audio clip. Trust me. Play the other audio clip, Aaron, please.
Let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. However, it is the responsibility of this president and this administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That is something that President Trump campaigned on. That's why he has launched
A steward of taxpayer dollars. Imagine that, fellow citizens that are paying taxes. All right, we're going to get into the columns now. Ryan, this segment's probably going to run long, but I don't really care. My favorite question, it was about the columns. And Mrs. Levitt said the following from the White House podium. DOGE and OMB, that's the Office of Management and Budget, found that the Biden administration was about to send, they didn't send it yet, they were about to send $37 million to the World Health Organization and $50 million, brace for impact, to fund condoms for Gaza. What? $50 million for condoms in Gaza. First off, nobody uses condoms. Especially in Gaza, of all places. Especially in Gaza, of all places. Ryan, maybe you know better than me. How many condoms does $50 million buy?
I can't even imagine.
How many people live in Gaza? Is it 50 million? Is it one? Because if it's 50 million, that means 25 have to be men. That means only about 15 of those are sexually active. That means you're talking about 4 condoms per person. It can't be $50 million. Don't they have ton of sheep over there anyway? Making me sick. Why even give them condoms? Shouldn't we be focusing on repopulating the area? Hello? Well, according to Libs of TikTok, Biden, and I think Trump actually mentioned this the other day, Biden is giving the condoms to use as, you'll never guess this.
I actually know the answer, but I'll let you go ahead and...
Weapons.
Yeah.
That's what Libs of TikTok posted. She, quote, from her account. You may be wondering why Gaza would need 50 million worth of condoms. It's because they use condoms as weapons to fly explosives into Israel. Biden was going to fund terrorism. The Trump administration stopped it. And there's a link to I put that. There's a link to an article with the same thing. Let me pull it up here. Condoms, kites, and birthday balloons. Silly Gaza weapons could lead to a real war. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are relentlessly flying a variety of airborne arson and explosive devices into Israel, causing hundreds of fires, millions of shekels in damage. It's clearly probably from the Israel Times. That was a joke. This is published June 28th of 2018, Ryan.
I always heard they were supposed to help with, keep safe. What's this? This is the opposite, right? Can you imagine?
I can't.
You're seeing them all floating over the border. Yeah.
They have to be Magnum, right? They would have to be.
It's bizarre.
All right. The money, you're on notice. The money laundering operations in this country and they're over. This is our money. This is our money, not the world's. During the press briefing, numerous journalists thought Trump cut Medicare because the online portal was down. I think that's what Caroline Levitt was getting to as well. I'm not sure if the journalists just didn't believe Caroline Levitt when she said that. the Trump spending freeze doesn't affect Medicare, but she posted this on X. It's from Carolyn Levitt. The White House is aware of the Medicaid website portal outage. We have confirmed no payments have been affected. They're still being processed and sent. We expect the portal will be back online shortly. And it got me thinking after last episode we said about with the Tuskegee Airmen just being all of a sudden deleted. Did one of the worthless partisan federal bureaucrats within Medicaid, Medicare, whatever, shut this website down to give the media a news story to run for a few days? Did they want this idea that Trump is shutting down everything from Medicare to SNAP to circle the news cycle and scare people? Or maybe it's just the fact that the portal probably runs on Windows 95, knowing our government. Either one could be true. That could all be true. I don't know. We got to move to a break here. Let me just a couple more things. Doesn't matter to the Democrat House member Dan Goldman. He thinks the money should go to places besides our country. Look at this tweet he posted. Trump's freeze on foreign aid is an abdication of our duty as a global leader. We have no duty as a global leader. Anyway, that money fights AIDS, malaria, and famine, including in Sudan. This indiscriminate freeze will cause more people to die, like his blanket pardons. It's small-minded, dangerous, and harmful. Why the hell did he bring up Sudan? I don't care about fighting AIDS in Sudan. Am I the only one? And he has nerve to bring up blanket pardons in his tweet. Hello? Were you in a coma for the last month? Before we move to a break, I will say Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt did announce the Trump White House will be giving press passes to independent journalists, podcasters, and social media influencers. Ryan, I'm proud to announce this show through this radio station has applied. Do we deserve one? I don't know, but CNN and MSDNC don't deserve those. So is it like a liquor license where they could take away one and give it to us? I don't know. What is this here? Real quick before we move to a break. From President Trump. This must just come out. He's signing an executive decree, I guess. An executive memorandum ordering an immediate assessment of aviation safety to ensure the damage resulting from the Biden administration's obsession with DEI. All right, we got to take a break. We went a little bit over. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about RFK's hearing. That was fireworks and lovely. MAGA, together as one. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM, WBVP.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. Two things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today.
It's time to wake up, Beaver Valley, with Pastor David Grove from the Church of the Redeemed of Beaver Valley. Tune in to Beaver County Radio this and every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. It's time to wake up and turn our hearts back to Jesus Christ. So wake up early this Saturday and tune in to Wake Up Beaver Valley from 9 until 10 a.m. right here on Beaver County Radio. Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearms store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. We spent the entire first segment talking about that military helicopter that crashed into a commercial airplane, and also Caroline Leavitt, the new White House press secretary, and how the first press briefing went. Now we're going to talk about some confirmation hearings, RFK Jr. being the first. So I was able to watch all of yesterday, and I loved every minute of it. Even my wife watched a lot of it, and she's not into politics at all. She is into health and children's health, though, and kids' health. So during RFK's hearing, though, actually, I can't even say during. It was before. We had a video come out on social media of a reporter already writing up a headline before the hearing started. And there's video of this. You can go online and see and even zoom in on the article. The headline was already negative. Let me see if I could get into this in this tweet and read the headline. RFK, this was posted literally 2 minutes after the hearing started. RFK faces grilling on anti-vaccine comments and animal mutilation at confirmation hearing. Trump live updates. Again, it already had a negative headline before the hearing started. Now, maybe this was a live article where the journalist was adding to it while the hearing was going on. Okay, fine. But before the hearing started, the headline was already negative. You could go on social media, like I said, see the video of it happening. It was posted at 9:32 a.m. What's the account that I have it on? At Kaylee Means on X. 9:32. That's before RFK even had his microphone turned on. Anyway, you got to wonder, does this mean the media, whoever's writing these articles, was working with the Democrats on the committee that were asking questions? This is how the fake news works. Every single one of these fake reporters are criminals. Maybe the next Attorney General, Pam Bondi, should look into that. And again, speaking of Attorney Generals, before we talk about RFK's hearing, friendly reminder that his father's assassination is currently in the process of being declassified. And rumor is the CIA did it, whatever, Sirhan. Like I said, the CIA can literally kill your father, and then everyone can still call you a conspiracy theorist for asking questions about poisons in food, mercury in vaccines, yada, yada, yada. All right, we saw numerous protesters interrupt the hearing, and honestly, I think that was a bad move if their goal was to hurt RFK Jr. He's gone on, he has that dysphoria, whatever, in his voice, and he's gone on record numerous times saying that he has his good days and his bad days, and I think yesterday was a bad day for him. So he was clearly struggling a little bit to speak, especially in the beginning, and he needed a break or two here and there and some water, and the protesters gave him just that. But again, let's get into the hearing. Remember, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is almost, if not just as popular as MAGA, Make America Great Again. MAHA has a serious base. A lot of moms in this country identify with the Make America Healthy Again movement. And I think a lot more people than usual, because of that, watched RFK's confirmation hearing. Newsflash. That's a very, very bad thing for Democrats. Why? I feel the Democrats were more interested in attacking RFK and getting sound bites to campaign off of and make money from for 2026 or the midterms. And what ended up really happening was all the normies, all the moms, watching at home, they saw just how dumb and dysfunctional our Senate is. Bernie Sanders spent most of his time talking about infant onesies? Ryan, play that clip, please.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not help.
Did you got to watch it online. There's literally a baby's onesies on there. Something anti-vaccine maybe on it, and to scream at someone.
I seen the two when it was going on screaming at one another. I didn't see any onesies, but I was wondering what was going on.
Do you support these? That's a serious question at a confirmation hearing about,
right. And Bernie, he's out there, man.
If you get a chance to watch the video exchange, audience, everyone, watch Megyn Kelly's face. She's like right behind to the right of JFK. RFK, she's laughing hysterically when that's and she should. And most Americans watching at home were probably laughing as well because they're a joke. They're a complete joke. Staying on Bernie Sanders, he did not like RFK's answer on the famous question, is health care a human right? And he cut him off and switched topics. I did not email you that clip. I'm going to play it on my phone. Hopefully our audience can hear it. Let me know if it sounds all right. But RFK, this is, I think, one of his best answers.
Is healthcare a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right, I would say it's different because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. And so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I cut him off. Ask another question. I'm Bernie Sanders. Again, he just makes a good point. He just makes a great point. That's all. That was a great answer. All right. What's next? What do we have here next? Numerous senators called out RFK for questioning why mercury is in vaccines. And again, he had the perfect response to that. RFK, I worked for years to get mercury out of fish, and no one ever called me anti-fish. Again, great point. How do you argue that? They also wanted RFK to promise to admit all vaccines are safe. Yeah, we could take a caller if we have a caller. And for those people who have they ever heard of the VAERS reporting system? What's that for? And he said all vaccines can't be safe because we'll just take the caller. Bring him over. Caller, who have we got today?
How you doing?
I am great. Dawn, how are you?
Oh, it's great. Hey, do you remember the old Rolling Stones classic, Mother's Little Helper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's Elizabeth Warren's theme song, but I am tired of these people denigrating us MAGA people. I hereby challenge Bernie Sanders to a 40-yard dash, hopefully outside of a Zippy Mart in Lower Alabama. Would you love to see Bernie Sanders and I running I have a bad right knee and my left shoulder shot, but I think I can take him. What do you think?
I think you got this.
I'd pay to see it, and you'd see Bernie's hair flying in the wind. Come on, I'd pay to see this.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Who is this woman, this Elizabeth Warren? They had a caller to one of those syndicated radio shows. I can barely get my arms around this. He's now claiming that Massachusetts runs dirty elections. It's shocking, isn't it?
It's absolutely shocking. Who would have thought the Democrats, a Democrat stronghold, a Democrat stronghold.
And, I've been doing the math. If you made love to your wife 3 times a week, your mistress once, and your goat twice, there's still no way you need $50 million worth of condoms.
Comment of the year.
So do you think it's just a money laundering scheme? Is it just money laundering?
My son is famous for whenever a ball player signs a $10 billion contract and then sits there and loafs, or a politician takes a payoff, he says that you would probably do the same thing if you were in their position. Let's be honest. If somebody said, hey, how about we slide a $50 million line item, condoms for Gaza through here, and you get a nice chunk of it, would you be tempted?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I saw this about when I first started following politics, gender studies in Iraq, when we were still involved in Iraq. And I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a crazy amount, but it was a couple million for gender studies in Iraq. And I thought, what is that for? And a couple $1 million?
Oh, my goodness. You know what? When I was a little boy, my little brother told me, we took my older sister to the hairdresser out in the middle of nowhere in the country, and he was laughing at the guy. And you can't use these words. He didn't use one of the bad ones, but he said this and that. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, you know how dad's a man and mom's a woman? And I said, yeah. And he said, this guy sleeps with other men. I never forgot. I turned around and looked at him and said, you're a liar. You know what? I'm sure my sister's hairdresser was a nice guy. All the liberals realized that they would just throw him off of a building out over there.
Right.
That's the study right there. Whoopsie daisy. Gravity wins. How much money do you think was stolen under Biden? 20%? What's your over and under?
I'm going to say it's got to be over half. If you're going to skim, you might as well skim big. But the question is, where did the money go? Because it can't all go to politicians' pockets. There's got to be some kind of grand scheme that they got going on, some plan that they needed money for. That's just my opinion, but it's like Kamala's campaign. Even that was a money laundering operation, it seems, because she gathered $1.4 billion and wound up $20 million in debt. What did her campaign get for all that money? What did they get?
I think they thought they were going to win, don't you?
They got star power. They got a few concerts, but I still like Brewster's Millions. I don't think they were able to spend that $1.4 billion. I think some of it's laundered away, and we'll never know.
I believe you get to keep some of it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, ask all the politicians that have gone to jail for just that.
Oh, you mean like the guy with the gold bars from Egypt?
Yeah. What's he doing, 11 years? You see him, we're going to get to him later in the episode. He was crying for Trump for clemency. I know what Donald Trump means. Donald Trump's going through the same thing, too. Oh, really? Really, Bob?
I know one thing. I wouldn't want to face, what's her name, Pam Bondi, the new, what is her job, Attorney General?
She's going to be Attorney General once she's confirmed. They're dragging their feet a little bit, but yes.
Here's what I would like to sick her on. She seems like an aggressive female. The one or two guys that Joe Biden, the one or two guilty people that Biden forgot to pardon.
Which one? There's a ton of people he forgot.
I'm sure there's a few guilty people they forgot to pardon.
Oh, there's a ton he forgot. Jack Smith, a lot of members of that. Remember, Michael Cohen was crying for a pardon. There was a lot of people that went on TV crying to Joe Biden for pardons. Maybe he forgot.
Indeed. Hey, you guys take care.
You too, Don.
Thanks, Don.
All right, we're still going to cover this RFK, Cash, and a little bit of Tulsi. We're going to take a break, though. When we come back, we're going to have more of RFK. Stay tuned. Listen to Thinking Logic here on 99.3 FM, WBVP.
It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. Two things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
All the buzz these days is about high-profile athletes deciding to transfer. Well, guess what? It's transfer season for you too. That's because it's balanced transfer season at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Transfer your high interest rate credit card balances to a low, fixed 6.99% Visa card at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Based on credit approval, new balance transfers only. Transfer today and put freedom in your future. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logic, or 99.3 FM WBVP. We're going to continue on with the RFK confirmation hearing. We've been covering that. Let me just throw some quotes out. RFK, President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again, and that's what I'm doing. Then there was Senator Bennett asking RFK if he ever claimed, brace for impact, Lyme disease is an engineered bioweapon. RFK Jr. responded, I probably did say that. It begs the question. After COVID and the lab leak, do we trust that all these diseases just sprung up in nature, or are they engineered? Let's investigate the history of Lyme's disease for a minute. Is it Cigar and Jody? He put out a tweet. He's not exactly a conservative. He posted this on X shortly after RFK was asked about Lyme disease. This is him. I didn't realize people weren't aware that Lyme disease was probably a lab leak, so here it is very simply. Lyme disease originated in Lyme, Connecticut in the 1970s. Lyme, Connecticut just happens to be mere miles away from a U.S. lab studying insects spreading bioweapons in the 1960s. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Wow, I wonder if there was a wet market near that U.S. biolab as well. Jeez, what are the odds? He also says Lyme disease, wasn't a problem at all until the 70s. So if Lyme disease wasn't a noticeable problem until the 1970s, but all of a sudden 3 really virulent tick-borne diseases just all of a sudden showed up in Lyme, Connecticut in the late 1960s, common sense, what does that tell you? And also, I guess right across from Plum Island, that's where the U.S. government's anti-animal / crop headquarters for biological weapons program is. Wow. This is almost as weird as Lou Gehrig dying of Lou Gehrig's disease. Ryan, what do you think? What are the odds? So again, we never got to. They make him out to see like a conspiracy asking about Lyme disease, and sure enough, he gives them an answer. Hey, so is he a conspiracy theorist? I don't know. He was asked that. He was asked point blank, "Are you a conspiracy theorist?" Ryan, play that audio.
That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection. And the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I can go on for about a week.
Is there anyone?
I feel him so hard. I've been doing this for like 6 years. I felt like this since COVID, even a little bit before with some things. Wow. I can only imagine how RFK Jr. feels. Especially after, the CIA kills your father and they call you a liar and a conspiracy theorist for 50 years after. Again, CIA just, maybe it was Sirhan who says he doesn't remember the incident at all. Sure, he was 30 feet away when he shot him and it shows that RFK was shot literally point blank, but we're not going to get into this. All right, what else do we have here? RFK Jr., the first thing, this is his opening statement, I love this. The first thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children. How could you not vote for this guy? How could you not confirm him? But Dr. Rachel Levin gets confirmed 98-0. Ryan, you're a smoker. Do you do Zen?
Do what?
Zen, the Zen things.
No, I do not.
You know what Zen is? Zen's like sweeping the country. It's like the coolest thing ever now.
What is that?
It's like a way to chew tobacco. Apparently RFK put in a dip or a Zen yesterday. I think it was Mountain Wintergreen. Huh. Yeah, he put that in around, I want to say 10, 15. He did one of these, I think, with one of the protesters. He's very smooth.
Is it one of those? I remember when we were younger, they did the pouches.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, 3.5 milligram or 3 milligrams, something like that.
I've never tried that.
All right. before we move on to Cash, play what, because everyone's probably wondering, McDonald's, what's he going to say about McDonald's? He gave a good answer for McDonald's, too. Play that.
I don't want to take food away from anybody. If you like a McDonald's cheeseburger or a Diet Coke, which my boss loves, and you should be able to get them. If you want to eat Hostess Twinkies, you should be able to do that. But you should know what the impacts are on your family and on your health.
It's a good point. He doesn't want to take food away from anyone. He's not Chris Christie, Ryan. He's not J.D. Pritzker. He doesn't want to take food away from anyone. It's a good point again. All right. We're short on time. I wanted to... We'll do the Cash hearing real quick. So this is funny. Senator Tom Tillis created a bingo card of all the lies Democrats will bring up about Cash Patel. And I think it was literally before it even started. Before opening statements were done, he claimed to X out 4 of the boxes already. Senator Hirono... She's annoying to listen to. Just play the exchange between her. She wanted him to answer a question that he already answered in writing. Go ahead.
Hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
this
those.
This is my third and last time I'm going to ask you that question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered 1,300 pages.
You no answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation.
Keep in mind, if you testify, you're wrong, or you're going to be accused of lying, and you're not going to get in. So I could see why he's a little bit,
And he's literally saying, I answered.
You have it in writing. Find it. I don't want to misspeak. What do you want for this man?
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham just asked Cash Patel, I guess this is literally like an hour before we walked in, if he ever experienced racism. Patel says he has, and he was called, I can't even say this. He was called, you know where he's from, India?
Yes.
He was called a sand something, Ryan. He dropped the hard R. I didn't have that on the bingo card. Cash Patel dropping a hard R. But again, they're going to call him a racist for saying this at some point. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, but he dropped the hard R. And he was just repeating what someone said to him, I guess. Yep. But are Indians that even?
I don't know.
I don't think that's even the right, what is it, slur to use for an Indian.
I'm not a slur expert.
I kind of am. I don't think that's appropriate slur for someone who's Indian. It just would not work. Is there even sand in India? I don't know. I should look into this. Anyway, they also mostly ask Cash about memes and tweets. This is guy, he's going for FBI director. Play when they're asking him about memes and tweets.
Is that you, Cash Patel, reposting that at the top of that page?
Senator, I had nothing to do with the creation of that.
Is that you reposting it was my question.
And that's me at the top.
You said FBI agents were responsible for the violence on January 6th, and I quote you here, beyond a reasonable doubt. Is that what you said?
That's completely incorrect, and I appreciate the opportunity to address that.
I'll give you an opportunity in writing, but this is my time now.
Have at it.
And inspect...
He's good. This is my time now. You can answer the question right. Not a shred of interest in listening answers out of them. Just using their stage time to probably for the midterms make money or get the soundbite. All right, I didn't have time to watch really any of Tulsi Gabbard hearings. I got some quotes here. Those that oppose my nomination are accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet. What truly unsettles them is I refuse to be their puppet. Tulsi Gabbard. Nice. I do have one complaint about. I just saw what she looked like. Her hair. She's beautiful, but she has this silver streak going down her hair, and she looks like Storm from X-Men. That's all I could complain about.
What is it? Now, I don't know if I heard just a hearsay, but I heard that was from an incident, from her being in a war, for her being overseas.
Yeah, I think it is.
And the stress, that's what caused that streak of gray.
Very cool. Again, she looked exactly like Storm. Storm is very attractive from X-Men.
Absolutely.
Looked exactly like Storm. She was talking about the 51, the laptop, the spies who lied. Just 24 hours, this is a quote from Tulsi, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris in her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terrorist watch list called Quiet Skies. Okay. She said that during her hearing. And then I don't know if I can get to much more. We're getting crunched for time here. she brought up how FISA was used to illegally obtain a warrant and spy on Trump. She brought up Joe Biden's campaign advisor, Tony Blinken being the basically the linchpin for the 51 former senior intelligence officials writing that letter. She got a lot of other stuff. For just like I said, we're short on time. Bob Menendez. Remember him? He used to be a senator. Now he is sentenced to 11 years in prison in a bribery case. And he's now begging Trump for a pardon. He literally, quote, Trump was right. This lawfare against me. Should Trump give him one? Audience, I'll let you decide. All right. And then right before we move to another break, the email that was given out to a lot of federal employees, fork in the road. So all federal employees, they're being emailed asking them to return to the office, improve employments, increase standards. And if they don't want to, they can respond with one word, resign. And that will give them 8 months paid severance as a package. Ryan, do you remember when government workers were fired for not getting a vaccine? Yeah, did they get 8 months severance package?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, they did not. And everyone in the media agreed they should be fired and even ostracized for not getting the vaccine.
You're right, yes.
No money for you, and we're gonna tear into you on national airways. So now that Trump is trimming the fat and firing federal workers to save on the budget, it's the worst thing ever, according to the news media. These people are being offered 8 months pay to quit. That's more, again, than the nothing people who were fired for refusing an experimental vaccine were given. And according to Elon Musk, this severance is the most allowed. Let me read the tweet. Worth noting that the 8 month severance offer through the end of the government fiscal year is the most that is legally allowed without Congress passing another appropriation bill. So they're giving these people the max. And what did I say in the first? It's the Trump administration's job to take care of these people that are going to be fired. 8 month severance is a good start. Then you can maybe collect unemployment for 3 to 6 months. Hey. All right. Also, Trump did announce just now 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. This is breaking just now. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Jim Acosta out at CNN, and we're going to debunk some more latest fake news. Stay tuned. Listen to Thinking here on 99.3 FM, WBVP.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
Midland residents, are you looking to travel to Calcutta using public transportation? BCTA Connect is live now. This service is free until March 1st, 2025. Rides can be booked using the convenient BCTA Connect app or by calling our customer service team at 724-375-2895. See how same-day, on-demand trips can help you by riding with BCTA Connect today. Visit our website at www.bcta.com/connect for more information.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logic here, 99.3 FM, WBVP. Talking about a bunch of stuff today, the confirmation hearings, stuff like that. Now, the White House, this is on X, the White House has an account, Rapid Response 47, that issues press releases debunking the latest fake news. It's funny. I suggest you follow that account on X if you have X. They do all this while the fake news is also trying to avoid being the ones in the headlines. Listen to some of these recent stories involving Trump and news media or social media sources. President Trump just settled a lawsuit against Meta over suspension of his account after January 6th. The company will pay him $25 million, $22 of which will go to Trump's presidential library. ABC paid Trump $15 million to settle the George Stephanopoulos defamation suit. CBS is in talks to settle the Trump deceptive editing of Kamala's 60 Minutes interview. And now, serial fake news liar Jim Acosta out at CNN. Let's quote his last statement on air. "I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear." Fun fact, the reason Jim Acosta is leaving is because he didn't want to work the midnight shift at CNN. They offered him the 12 a.m. slot. And that's a fact. They wanted him on the midnight hour. And Trump put out his Truth Social making fun of him for that. Okay, we got a couple more stories to get to. Ryan, remember when I said General Milley should be court-martialed and possibly executed?
I do.
Yeah, well, it turns out we are one step closer. I'm not cheering for anyone to be hung or shot by firing squad, but Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said, if you actively undermine the chain of command, as General Milley did under the previous Trump administration, we are going to review those actions. Accountability is back. And that's from Rapid Response 47 on X. And I guess he's demoted, and I don't know if they're going to bring him back to active duty, but he's getting a demotion and something in pay. This is just the beginning. Ryan, can you name something in Chicago worse than the Bears?
Can I name something in Chicago worse than the Bears? The Cubs?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. How about the mayor?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? Chicago Mayor Johnson, basically, for our audience, he had a room filled with gifts and gold as if it was the Pharaoh treasure chamber in an Egyptian pyramid. He had a gift room. He had a gift room where he would just not report these gifts that were... Speaking of pyramids, is this a pyramid scheme? Maybe. Again, imagine opening that up and it's like, what's the movie with Nicolas Cage? National Treasure at the end, where it's all the gold and everything in there. I feel like a Chicago mayor went to jail for way less, and Trump pardoned him a few years ago. Well, Rob Blankovich, whatever his name was. All right. What else? Lyft. They're being sued by a large female rapper for being denied service by the company. Did you see this one, Ryan?
No.
489-pound rapper Dank DeMoss is suing Lyft for millions for discrimination after a driver refused her a ride, fearing his car would collapse under the pressure.
I saw the picture. I didn't catch the story. That's a big guy.
Did you hear everyone saying she's big boned?
No.
What? She's not big boned.
Wait, that was a woman?
Yes, I think it was a woman.
Oh wow.
Anyway, she's just large. I wouldn't put her in the back of mine.
Yes.
I wouldn't drag her. But yeah, someone said she's big boned, and humans in general, they're not big boned. You know what is? Hippopotamuses, elephant, dinosaurs were big boned, Ryan.
Yeah.
Not fat women. And definitely not fat black women rappers.
Like I said,
it worked for a big pun.
I scrolled at one point and I saw a big person and I thought it was a guy. I'm sorry.
Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking in 2020, by 2026, we'll have all this stuff figured out. Don't worry.
What's the name? The rapper's name? Do you know?
Dank DeMoss. I'm guessing that might not be her real name, but it could be. I don't know. It could be.
I'm just going to pull her up and take a look.
Ryan, I thought of a new movie idea.
Okay.
It's called COVID the Movie. What do you think about this? This is a nice plot twist. So there's this virus that just comes out of nowhere and starts infecting everyone. And then this is a movie, mind you, like that movie with Matt Damon and Lawrence Fishburne.
Right.
I forget what it's called. And they put this doctor in charge to help solve the pandemic and to do the right thing. Except there's just one problem. That doctor actually created the virus to the pandemic. But it gets better. It gets even better because that same doctor also created the cure. What's another word for a cure? Not a vaccine. I guess we could just use vaccine. Also created the cure, the vaccine to that pandemic. And then just when this evil guy is about to get caught for his crimes, the evil president with dementia pardons him. But wait, it gets better. It gets better because the audience...
This is too far.
The audience then finds out that since he's pardoned, this doctor now has to testify truthfully about all of his crimes. Even though he is pardoned, he still has to testify truthfully.
Right.
And then you know what happens, Ryan? A new president steps into the White House, cut to black. You got to wait for the sequel.
Interesting.
Yeah. And is it too far-fetced? Or is that exactly what freaking happened with Dr. Fauci? Seriously.
Come on, right?
How much time we have left? When you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ryan, what do you think of? Three things he's known for.
He's an actor, a bodybuilder, and he has a foreign accent.
I was going to say governor is a third.
Okay.
You know what he's not known as?
What's that?
A Nazi. Ryan.
Okay.
What? I'm just saying,
right.
Some of his poses, when you look at him, and remember, he was doing these poses on a stage at rallies just a few decades after World War II ended. And guess what, Ryan? His father? His father was a Nazi, right? Arnold's father was a Nazi.
Was he really?
Oh, yeah, you look it up. So is Arnold Schwarzenegger a secret Nazi? Remember, he's on that famous, screw your freedoms. Remember, get vaccinated. Screw your freedom.
Yeah.
It's about safety. Sounds like something a Nazi would say. Screw your freedom.
Oh, interesting.
So this time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, could he have been a Nazi? This is supposed to be a new segment where we try to find undercover Nazis.
Well, everybody's Nazis now. Come on.
It could be anyone.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, the plane crash kind of screwed things up. For 3 weeks, I've had this debunking that Jesus was a refugee. It's like a 4-minute thing I have. We're going to have to wait till next week, but Jesus was not a refugee. Sorry. But that's all the time we have for today. We got to get out of here. I can't do basketball. Let's just.
My thing is this: Dank DeMoss. I pulled her up. This definitely is not the picture. If it is, it was a different picture because it's not the person I thought it was. But this is, in fact, a pretty big person. Going back to your Dank DeMoss story.
You think RFK Jr. can help her if he gets in?
I don't know. I don't know anything about her. Again, I wasn't even sure this was the correct person, but she's a big one.
You've heard of become ungovernable, become unliftable, and then sue. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back on Monday, 5 to 6 p.m., same time as always. You've been listening to Thinking Logic on 99.3 FM. WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.